stage one, maybe Yelena, you do stage two. So what we're doing at the moment is taking registrations of interest, and we'll have the time frame towards the end, but it's also in the original documents. And so what we are asking is that you submit interest, and that doesn't mean that that will be the final selection, but those individual submissions, once the submissions close, expressions of interest close at the end of June, we'll be looking at them under these sorts of headings. And as I, if there are other things you think we should consider, please feel free to put them in the chat or in the Jamboard. But the innovative use of futures methodologies and tools, and so that was something that Anisah mentioned before, that we do expect that futures studies methodologies are built into the essay or to the research, and it's not just something that's set in the future. And there are so many resources that you can draw on and links through the Journal of Future Studies. So we'll be making links there too, but also how well you've structured and articulated what you want to do. And I think that's a pretty crucial part of putting your submission in when you have a look at the form. But as well as your individual work, we'll also be looking at the overall mix of people. And so when we're doing our final selections, we ideally want a range of topics and a mix of some smaller pieces and some longer pieces, or and ideally the diversity of participants from around the world. And so that's why it's really important to us for you to be spreading the word in your local networks. And then you'll see that it says equity pause. This is one of my pretty important things, is that when we think we've got it right, that stepping back for a moment and consider whose voices who have been heard, who might be missing, and what else we might need to consider is an important part before we make that final decision about getting back to you to let you know that you've been successful, or perhaps not this time. And then we move to stage two. Oh, you're on mute, Yelena.
Thank you, Cheryl. It is very important what Cheryl mentioned and what is called in future studies as participatory foresight, to see whom we have. So definitely you have to keep in mind what also Anisah mentioned before, that to have a good paper, rigorous academic research, it takes time. So yes, with essay, it might take a little bit shorter time, and the period of review and working on an essay will be shorter than on the conventional paper. So you have to be ready to that it usually for peer-reviewed journals, your work might even been pending for a year. But with us, we will try to facilitate the process now, because well, I think both sides, the authors and editors, want to have the final product to be cooked and presented to the audience as quickly as possible. Still, we have this stage two. So once we have your final article submitted, we will go through the standard process of reviewing. Usually it takes a few stages. The first stage, your paper will have two reviewers, two independent reviewers, because we all are academics, so we have our subjective opinions, and very often what I like about peer-reviewed journals, that the look from outside helps you to see those tiny things, and sometimes not tiny, which you need to work on, which will help to improve
Okay, I think Yelena, you're frozen at the moment, so I'll just take over until you come back. But also to say that in between being your submission being accepted, your original
Sorry.
Oh, that's great. I would just thanks, Yelena. I just between the final submission, we will be there to help you. That doesn't mean sort of 24 hours a day, but we will organize some times for a regular catch up. And Yelena, there's a question on the Jam board about can we request you to connect us to experts in the subject matters of the papers that we're working on. Some of us younger folks are working in interdisciplinary areas.
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. Definitely, we will try. We are working on the list of those people who will be doing review, because Journal of Future Studies is sticking to a very high standard, and we want to keep this high standard for this special issue. And also, if you are connected with the experts in the field, it will also benefit you, your progress, your professional progress as well. So yeah, if it is possible, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind that not everything, we are not magicians. Not everything depends on us. But we will try our best. Also, if there is an option, if the author has someone in mind and is sure that that person, the expert, the professional, can review the paper, your suggestions are also welcome.
Yeah, and with that in mind, because I think the three of us had talked about us challenging our own thinking and using this to explore what changes need to be made to move some of this thinking into a youth-friendly space. So one of the suggestions was, can there be a youth peer review process or a safe environment? Some of us feel intimidated by expert foresight practitioners and experts. And so I think that's a really, I love that question, because that's the sort of thing that gets us thinking about, I wonder what that might look like. And our first job, I guess, is to ensure that that as the two guest editors, we're not scary and that we've got a good relationship with you and can connect. So that would be stage one, but I love that question and that provocation for us. And there's another question, do you encourage field work, empirical work, or do you find this to be overwhelming for young foresight practitioners?
So may I jump in?
Yes.
Well, for field work, I myself love doing field work, and at the moment I'm in the middle of a project with a colleague. We are doing research on the images of Islamic education in Kazakhstan, and we are this week hopefully will do a workshop which will help us to collect some more pictures for that gallery of images, visual images. It is very important because fieldwork connects two things, practical and theoretical. Without building first the theoretical foundation, it will be kind of tricky for you to get empirical material, because you might be lost in which direction to go, what to collect, how to collect, what to prepare for collecting that empirical materials. Therefore, I would encourage this field work, because also, in addition to what I've mentioned, it gives you an opportunity to test your skills as a futurist. Let me explain what I mean. Futurist, for me, it's not an armchair practitioner or armchair scholar. That's the person who is always in the middle of real life. That's why I value my participation in future studies a lot. Of course, you can do, let's say, philosophy, sitting at the table and spending all your days in front of your computer. So from time to time, you have to get out of your shelter and go into the streets and hear what people are talking, to test somehow your philosophical ideas. With future studies, you have to be almost always, like 99% of your time, in the streets. You have to hear what people are saying, how they express their feelings, what they post in their social media, what they discuss in coffee shops, what they draw on the walls of their apartments, what cars they drive. So you have to be immersed into real life to be a real futurist. So go ahead, Cheryl.
Sorry. So just absolutely agree with that. And the last couple of days, I've posted something on the Journal for Future Study that came from Anisah that was a really good example of future studies in practice, but lots of the academic rigor, but also some information that you can take away and actually use. And so I do encourage you to go to the Journal of Future Studies and look through the examples there, because there's a wealth of knowledge. So just the draft timetable, I don't think we need to go through that. It's on the website, and that link was put in earlier on. So have a look at that, but you'll see you've got another month for submission and of the initial statement of interest, and then we'll let you know after that. And then following that, maybe we could just quickly in this the JFS publication process, and then stop screen sharing and just take any final questions or whatever. So